monthly director's commentary wrap-up slash podcast. I'm going to try to rebrand it for that because YouTube is pushing that for some reason. I don't know. These end up being like an hour anyway, may as well. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. So in these videos, what I do is I made a bunch of shorts, so I'm going to go ahead and just watch them on the screen and talk about them and talk about the creation process as well as any like things that had to go on the cutting room floor, things that just didn't fit in them. You know, they're only 60 seconds. Other things I want to get to later. I had a big video come out this month that I worked really hard on. I'm going to talk a bit about that. That one I think is a lot of people. It's getting a lot of attention. And I've got a lot of new people around my content because of it. So yeah. Before I get to that, this is my one and only Patreon reminder that exists. Yeah, I don't do a lot of the stuff that other YouTubers do. You may have noticed, like, I don't take Hello Fresh ads and stuff, at least not at this point, because I work a full-time job that pays for all this stuff. But supplementally, if you appreciate my content, if you want to make it easier for me to create stuff, if you want me to think bigger because I have more money, I mean, this is what you do. Totally not obligated. I'm going to survive one way or another. You know, if you are a patron to other people, if you're deciding between like the leftist cooks who don't have, you know, who are awesome and great and are like doing amazing work, but don't have, you know, a nice lucrative like capitalism job like I do, you should probably go to them. But if you have both, if you got money for both, then here you go. Here I am. Thank you. Hey, relax. Hey, buddy. Come here. Can you sit? Can you sit? Sit. Sit. Good boy. Shake. Good boy. Lay down. No. Down. Good boy. This is my Don Grimm. First video is just in my Discord. This is a private video. This is just me fucking around in my neighborhood, and I got dadded. Here. So I'm just fucking around on my WR250. I'm like practicing wheelies. I'm out in this. I've never been in this area. Seattle's an insanely like hilly place, so. Yeah, I was just fucking around. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna crack on this. Like, there's nobody on this fucking path. I'm like, I'm just gonna fucking zip zap, you know, get to the end, see what the fuck's going on, right? Not doing anything, right? Nothing major. No cars. Nobody's fucking. Literally nobody's around at all. Saw this grandma. She looked like she was gonna fall the fuck down with that shit. I was honestly like, I should help her. So I feel like I'm like, oh, this guy's probably gonna go help her. And then he's like,
sorry, hold on, I can't hear you.
Okay, well, wait for you. Okay. I was just saying, my name's Daniel.
Hey, what's up, Daniel?
Hey, I live on the street right there, and I just saw you racing down around the pedestrian pathway.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a lot of kids out there.
Yeah. I was watching for it. I don't want to hurt
Could
anybody.
you not do that anymore? It's not appropriate for you to have your motorcycle on that path.
Yeah, I mean,
That's all I need to hear.
Yeah.
Just don't do it.
I'm not trying to hurt anybody. Right? No one's there.
But it's not a safe spot for you to have that motorcycle on that path.
I mean, e-bikes exist, right? Like,
But that's a motorcycle, and it's not supposed to be that path. It's a pedestrian path. Okay.
I understand.
Thank you.
that's it. It's a dumb little clip. Had I known he was gonna do that, I would not have stopped. Don't ever stop. Don't fucking stop. Never stop when someone gets out of a car to talk to you. Just period. If it's a cop, even if it's a cop, just fucking just go. You know, like that's just the safest thing. I don't know. Don't run from cops if they already have your plate, of course. But the number of times where somebody got out of their car and something good happened is nearly zero that I can think of, at least. So, like I said, I thought he was going to help that grandma. He wasn't mean, you know, he had a concern, but it's like that annoying parent concern where it's like, you know, motorcycles don't go on the path. Sure, dude. I don't care that that's your opinion, man. Like, it's not going to stop me. I'm going to do it. Like, this is not how I think or care about things. So I'm not looking to make an enemy for anybody. I didn't want to fight him. Like, again, just don't stop. The first thing that happens after you're pulled over is this IRL unskippable cutscene with QuickTime events that I call the safety lecture phase. This can go a lot of different ways, but usually there's several attempts to try to shame and guilt you. You know, What would your parents think? Do you know that people die on motorcycles? Thanks, Dad. I'm in my 30s. This triggers a lot of people to involuntarily apologize to the cop. Like, it wasn't entirely the cop's choice to be talking to you, but my recommendation is to shut the fuck up.
What do you say when the cop first pulls you over?
Why'd you pull me over?
And when he keeps asking questions?
Not discussing my day.
And they ask more questions?
Am I being detained or am I free to go?
And if detained, what do you say?
I invoke the fifth.
And then what do?
You shut the fuck up.
I've been pulled over dozens of times. Officer friendly, just looking to give you a warning, is an extreme minority of situations, especially when they pull over a motorcycle. So stay calm and always choose the conversation option that wraps up the dialogue tree as quick as possible. When I made that video, I had really intended it to be like basically like a Mass Effect dialogue tree. I love Mass Effect. If you're in the Discord, like, this is my Morden tattoo. Like, I love Mass Effect. I want to get like more. I'm just a fucking pussy, and getting tattoos fucking hurts. I wanted to do that, but then I decided like I wanted it to be more practical. I've probably been pulled over 30 times in my life, but on top of that, like, I've interacted with more cops than most people will in a lot of contexts. I've interacted with multiple sheriffs in person, like talked to them, communicated with them, like had phone calls with them, like long ones, like 20-minute, 30-minute phone calls. Like, I understand the police. Like, I understand what their mentality is. The ones that are the most dangerous are the ones doing traffic. And lay down.
Absolute motherfucking piece of shit.
I've been pulled over like 30 times probably in my life. There was a summer where I got 6 tickets, like speeding tickets. If you go into a fucking police department, like, cops are way more chill because they have to watch like weird people coming in and out all the time. Like, they can't be on 100% defensive, like life or death mode all the time in that context. So they're way more chill. It's not dangerous, but like, out on the road, yeah, that's the mindset they're in a lot of the time, especially. So instead of making it a big joke about Mass Effect dialogue trees, I decided I wanted to communicate, stay the fuck alive. Like, end this interaction as quickly as possible, because that's how I think of it, man. I think about it as like, this is potentially life or death at any fucking moment. So wrap that shit up.
Yo, the sign is real simple, B. It says wrap it up.
I bought quite a few used bikes, and my strategy for vetting them before I buy is pretty simple. I only look at bikes with low ass miles, because there's no shortage of people who bought an R1, ride it through its break-in cycle, and then sell it a few years later, which is the perfect amount of miles to know that the engine isn't a fucking lemon.
Unacceptable!
Then I check to see if the bike's been dropped by looking at all the furthest points, you know, the bar ends, fairings, turn signals, really just to see if there's like long, deep scratches or scrapes that would mean it got laid down at speed. And I'm not comfortable dealing with the more subtle problems that could come from that. I also take notes of anything I see that I want to replace immediately and mentally add that to the cost of the bike. Does the chain look good? When's the last time they had an oil change? How many miles are left on the tires? You know, all the normal consumable maintenance shit. And as long as the seller had the title in hand, or a lien with a real ass bank and not their fucking uncle in Miami or whatever, I never had any other issues. Dude, I put a lot of effects in this video. I really wanted this video. I was excited about doing this video because I feel like it's pretty useful as far as information goes. Like, you know, I mean, how many people ask you, hey man, like, what do I look for? Will you come with me? Go look at a bike. I mean, that's the real cheat code. Just bring someone who knows what to look for, or at least has a ballpark, you know. But this is actually someone in the Discords, our hot ass R1 with these candy fucking red. Man, I love this bike. This is a hot ass bike. They got this bike. This bike was cheap. $7,600? Are you fucking kidding me? I'd have bought that shit. This is also another bike from someone in the server. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I like to do that fun stuff. I don't have any problem with bikes with damage, like of some form. Like, I'm really just like looking for it to be, I don't know, you know, just like I expect people to have dropped their bike in low speed scenarios, like around their house, like moving in and out of their garage or whatever. yeah, I'm just a mechanical idiot. Like, I can't deal with replacing shit. It fucking annoys me. It's boring. It's just so boring to me most of the time. I want to fucking ride it. So at a minimum, you should be using this to be like, is this worth it? Like, how much damage is here? You know, looking at the price, comparing it to other bikes in your area that are similar. I know we're in like a weird spot. I haven't bought a bike I bought my WR250X like right before COVID, or maybe it was mid-COVID. I do it on Oregon for that bike. So, but I had a very specific model in mind, a very specific year. So if you don't have those requirements, be more flexible. Like, if you want to know how to get a good deal on a bike, just be really flexible about what bike you get. That's the answer. Like, people talk about all the ways that they try to like haggle down and shit. And look, that shit may work. Like, totally. I don't know. I don't do that. Like, that's just not how I operate. I don't like haggling. It's not fun for me. So I do everything up front. I find that sellers really appreciate that I'm super upfront with, all the details that I want to know, because by the time I go see the bike, I've decided I'm going to buy it already, because I'm not going to waste my fucking time driving somewhere, especially if it's Oregon or something, if I haven't already made that decision. So I need to ask all of those questions up front. And if somebody's not willing to answer them, if they're terse or whatever, cool, next bike. That's just how I feel. Here's what I don't get about men looking up to dudes like Andrew Tate, Sneaky, all these bastions of masculinity. None of these dudes ride motorcycles. Is that not fucking sus to you?
Yeah, they're amazing fun. It's just the other people on the road. You're doing wheelies, you're going fast, you're in and out of cars. Sooner or later, life's gonna check you. Life checked me, and I'm still here. I know some guys that checked and never woke up again. So it gets to that point where it's like, I feel safer with my car. I feel safer.
It's because they're afraid of them. My man here bought a bike, did no formal skills training, had a close call, and scared himself shitless. I've known so many people who've done the same shit and talked just like this dude. Aren't these dudes about like hyper control of every aspect of their fucking lives, but they can't control which direction a bike is going and how fucking fast?
The only thing you can actually really truly control is what you think.
I might have all this gay shit up here, but I still ride motorcycles.
Because I'm not a fucking pussy.
Here's what I wanted to use that Soulja Boy clip so bad. I love The Boys. If you're not watching The Boys, I cannot fucking relate. That show is, I think, the best show that I've ever seen. Full stop. Period. Has never gone down in quality. Has only increased in quality as the fucking seasons. Anyway, yeah, I wanted to throw some toxic masculinity back at it because I thought it was fun. It's just funny to me. That's why. That's it. I don't generally call people pussies and stuff. This is the thing about the way he describes it, right? He's like, motorcycles are great. You're doing wheelies. You're going fast. He didn't say, yeah, back when I had my Gixxer or whatever, I was doing fucking wheelies. I was being a dipshit. I was going way too fast. And then this crash happened to me in this specific way. Like, I just noticed that and was like, oh, you clearly do not have a lot of personal experience with this. And that's fine. Whatever. Nobody needs to ride a motorcycle necessarily. It's just, it seems so strange to me that these types of dudes didn't ride. Like, it was... I legit did not expect that sign to look like that. I was sincerely so stoked that happened. This is... Again, I'm just out there fucking around on my WR250, and these are now emojis in my Discord. By the way, I made sure that this is like my favorite smile emoji and this good job emoji. I love that. Yeah, I want to do more content like this, like using my GoPro footage. Like something quick like that. It's 15 seconds. Something that's just for entertainment purposes. I don't know. It's just extra time. It takes more effort and work, but I'm gonna try to do that more with summer coming around. I'm gonna be riding a lot fucking more. So shoulder riding on a motorcycle is a lot like lane splitting in that people who've never tried it seem extremely emotionally invested in the idea that it has to be dangerous, which it just isn't. What I hear most is that the shoulders collect debris like garbage, car parts, sex toys, random bullshit that will fuck up your tires and cause you to crash and die. Look, it's not totally wrong, but 99% of the time, you only need to be a few feet into the shoulder, and cars are rolling over that area plenty, pushing all that dangerous shit off to the edges of the roadway. Other concern I hear is that drivers aren't expecting me from the shoulder. And that's a benefit because a surprising number of people try to run me off the road when they notice me shoulder riding. Some riders feel more comfortable in the shoulder than splitting between cars, and I totally get that logic because you've got one less side of cars to worry about. So while we're legalizing lane splitting, let's go ahead and legalize shoulder riding too, because anything that incentivizes alternatives to cars increases our overall collective safety. So I'm getting better, I think, as a creator, knowing what clips people are gonna want to see that are gonna like pull people in. And I knew that this clip of me ripping around this corner during traffic several weeks ago or whatever was gonna hook people. I also like that I got this my legalized wheelies sticker in there. You know, feels good. That's again another thing some people are gonna notice and be like, perk their head up. I think this was definitely my favorite part, and I knew that this was gonna. I did flip that bus off, and I'm not proud of that, but I was pretty pissed. I didn't expect that bus to fucking do that. That seemed the double bus did it, not a single. What the fuck? Oh yeah, the fucking blowhigh or whatever, blahaj, whatever, fucking falls down mid fucking video. I was mad because this was the second one I actually recorded in the sequence, and so I think 3 or more of them do not have the shark than do because I didn't notice this. I get in the recording zone, you know? And then this was the other thing people were frustrated about was the bike lane. This was like out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like nobody was in that bike lane. I that's just kind of how I feel about it. And I'm probably going to make a video. I don't know if I'm going to get to it super soon. I might just try to rip it out here in the next week or so. The way I think about bike lanes is the way I feel about traffic just as a whole. Like the more dangerous your vehicle is to other people, the more responsibility I think you have to defer to them. The lowest common denominator on the roadway is the pedestrian. So everybody needs to defer to the pedestrian. You should never hurt or kill anybody. Like you should always be trying to protect vulnerable pedestrians because they just have the least protection possible, and then it's bicycles. Bicycles should be aware of pedestrians, right? Make sure that they don't hurt them. But then there's motorcycles, and motorcycles need to make sure they're not hurting bicyclists. So in this case, in this specific scenario, if there was a bike there, I wouldn't have gone. Like I might have gone and then like cut back in as I got closer or split or whatever. But it was because there was no bicycle there. I think motorcycles and bicycles can share the same lanes, but you have to defer to that more vulnerable traffic. So while we're legalizing splitting, let's just go ahead and throw in shoulder riding too. Buy one, I saw it. There was a sign. Buy one, get one free. There was a sign. It was there. Fucking one of the guys took it. I told him about it. He just took it from me. You have to legally. Oh, I'm just gonna bitch about this video. I just got that new GoPro, and I was really excited to like show people what it looked like. I was super late one time going to a soccer game. And this was like one of the first times I recorded with this camera, and I had a terrible mount point, and you just can't fucking see almost anything the whole time. Like you can see my speedo, but that's basically it. And I was insanely disappointed by that. I went about 26 miles in 17 minutes through downtown Seattle. So I averaged about 90 miles an hour, which was hilarious. I did not expect that. RIP this fun little video. When I park my motorcycle, it's either going to be in the bowels of an undisclosed parking garage so that nobody sees it and gets the idea to try to steal it, or it's going to be right smack dab in the front of wherever I am so that there's hopefully enough foot traffic to prevent someone from stealing it. When I park on the sidewalk or in front of a building, I make sure my bike is off to the side. I consider and make sure to leave plenty of space for people who are in wheelchairs or whatever to get past. It's not inconveniencing anyone. Some people are always going to bitch about it, but there's just no reason to feel like you're being selfish or rude because sure, you're simplifying your parking, but you're also reducing theft in your community and not taking up spaces sized for a car. Just like lane splitting, it's win-win-win. If you don't want me to drop the curb and park on a walkway or whatever, then build some more motorcycle parking. This is how smart countries solve the issue because they understand that motorcycle riders are doing a service to their communities by not driving a car. So why wouldn't you make things as easy as possible for them? That face, that was a good face. I was proud of that face. This video actually came up because someone in my Discord asked me for it. They were like, "Where do you park?" And I was like, "I park right fucking in front." And they're like, "Cool. How do you have the confidence to do that and not be afraid of people talking to you or yelling at you or towing your bike. And it's because I've done it a lot. The closest I ever got was I was working at a Best Buy down in Portland, the Cascade Station store that's like right next to the airport. I was working as an Apple employee at the time, and I would show up there. I got multiple bikes stolen. So 2 bikes were stolen in Portland. One was stolen downtown when I went to go like take some photos and hang out. I left it on like a corner a couple blocks up from like Powell's, and it just was gone when I got back midday. And then the other one, I got that when I got a replacement bike. I literally had it for 2 weeks, and then it was stolen out of my fucking parking carport in my apartment in Vancouver. So I became insanely paranoid about theft. Seems reasonable. I bought a giant chain, and what I would do is I would drive to work, and there was nothing like around the parking lot, like close, like right up front, like what I showed in this video here. And they didn't have anywhere to chain it to. The closest thing they had was a bike rack that was on the sidewalk. So that's where I parked it. And after like a month or two, some fucking security guard comes, some doofy fucking security guard. Seriously, he was super doofy. And he came in and was like, talking about like, whose bike is this? Like, he came in like a fucking bat out of hell, like, and then they pointed at me, and then he's like, can I talk to you? And he like pulls me outside. Cool, what's up, man? Like, what can I do for you? And he proceeds to explain to me that I can't do that, and that it's gonna get oil on the fucking sidewalk and ruin it and all this shit. And I'm just like, look, dude, it's been stolen multiple times. I'm gonna keep parking here. And he was like, well, we're gonna fucking tow it, blah blah blah. And I'm like, cool, good luck with that chain, my dude. It's gigantic. It's 20 fucking pounds. I literally broke my backpack. The links were literally this fucking big, like as thick as my fucking finger. It was heavy. I think it weighed 25 pounds, somewhere in that ballpark. So that's where I left it. And then eventually his manager, eventually he went to the Best Buy store manager who talked to me about it, who I explained that to, and he was like, cool, man, I don't care. I had a great relationship with pretty much everybody that worked at that Best Buy. So after he got shut down by my store manager, he stopped. But these are mall cops, dude. Yeah, people might give you shit about it, but it's really not that big a deal. Very few places are bored enough or angry enough to call a fucking tow truck. And honestly, I'm usually places for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour tops. They're probably not going to call a tow truck in an hour. And even if they do, it's probably going to take another hour for that tow truck to even get there. You also may not know that a lot of tow trucks can't actually tow bikes, or they don't know how, they're afraid. I've had to get multiple tow trucks to pick up bikes, and it's always like, oh, let me find the guy who actually knows what the fuck they're doing. It is unbelievable to me that I got Andrew Tate to post cringe just by calling out this obvious lie he's been telling for a decade about him crashing his motorcycle. He's been telling this lie about a woman hitting him for a decade because he's just making it up. He's just taking other people's crashes and retelling the details as if they're his. The gun people have already destroyed him on this. I'm not even gonna go into the cringy parts of that, but he already said he doesn't ride motorcycles anymore. So that means that someone either airlifted that fucking bike there for him, or another man rode it there so that he could pose next to it. Bro, what happened to the bike afterward? Did you get an insurance payout? Did you fix it and sell it? Did you just fucking send it to their scrapyard? What happened afterward, my dude? You didn't do any of that because it didn't happen. I get that Tate fans don't want to believe some pink-haired asshole who's insulting their daddy, but go ask someone in your own life who's had a motorcycle crash. Let me know how many you find that have zero photos of the aftermath. It's actually fucking insane to me that you'll never not convince me that he didn't post this because of me. This is just, like I mentioned, there was zero photos of him anywhere on a bike on the internet, and then magically, less than a week later, he just has to post it. And it's fucking crushed velvet paint. I mean, really, look at the photo. The photo just says so much. The more you look at it, the more details you pull out of it. I'm not going to do that here. You have fucking fun if you want. I don't care that he doesn't ride a motorcycle. I'm frustrated enough at motorcycle culture and motorcycle riders who are just constantly scaring people out of the hobby or making people feel like, oh my God, motorcycles are just so unsafe. It's really frustrating to me when people who don't ride act like they ride and then they learned a lesson about it that was to not ride. That's why it's so frustrating to me. And you know what? Andrew Tate, he does a great job at getting fucking clicks. I have never taken a swing at him before in my fucking channel, to my knowledge. Oh, maybe I kind of, not directly at least. I figured it's my turn. Fuck it, I'm gonna do this sometimes. I don't have Cycle Cruiser anymore because he's like just so fucking boring. You know, and he was doing MGTOW shit and stuff. I mean, that was the person that I would have done that with. Actually, if you know of a motorcycle guy who's super fucking misogynistic or something, or a piece of shit, like, send me those clips. Send me those videos. I would be interested in seeing them.
It's so obvious that none of his fucking fans have ever ridden motorcycles because they would have figured this out way before me. I can't even believe I'm the first one to notice this. Like, he was the most Googled man in the world at one point, right? When people finally pull the trigger on a motorcycle, it's a big deal for them. Like, they take these types of glamour shots when they get the motorcycle, on the motorcycle, riding the motorcycle. Like, that is what they do. And when people wreck a bike, they also get asked tons of photos that, here's what it looked like before. Oh fuck, here's the totally bented and broken frame, just like I have. If it's serious, you probably went to the hospital. So where's the photos of you in the hospital? Where's the photos of like how you looked after? Like, did you break an arm? Did you get scraped? You didn't do any of that because it didn't happen. I get that, look, I get that there's a lot of social pressures saying that motorcycles are dangerous and that anybody that rides them is just fucking suicidal. But I've been riding motorcycles for 15 years. Like, in the ways that people say, if you do it, you'll die instantly. And it just doesn't happen because you can build skills. You can get better at it if you try. If you actually want to make it happen, you can do it. I've crashed multiple bikes. It's not just an immediate death sentence. Tate, if you want to ride a motorcycle, you can just subscribe to youtube.com/squidtips and I'll fucking show you, man.
I guess this is news to some of the people watching me. Motorcycles are gay. That sexual thrill you get when you wrap your hand firmly around the throttle grip and crank your hog until she screams. Yeah, that's an extremely universal feeling that queer people experience too. Hell's Angels used to kiss each other on the lips because they knew that it freaked out normies and cops. And you can say that doesn't make them gay, and you're right, but it also means that these hyper-masculine, drug-running murderers weren't a bunch of super straights either. Motorcycles are counterculture to the car, which dominates our society to the point where cars are the root of some of our biggest societal problems. Queer culture is counter to the normal straight culture that is whipping people into this psychotic panic over benign bullshit, the same way that seeing two men kiss might get a cop to freak out and out themselves, even when it might actually put them into mortal fucking danger. Motorcycles are about the freedom to be violently yourself, even when you know it will get you labeled as a degenerate or a criminal. I guess this is news. Shout out to Luna in the Discord for that last line about being violently yourself, because that's a quote they gave me and it really spoke to me. And I was like, I need to put this in the video, in some fucking video, and this felt perfect. I actually had a sparkly effect that I forgot to put in. I put it in the TikTok one because I had to like change it. I had to like censor the swastika even more on TikTok to get it to go through. But that, yeah, I was a little sad about that. Nobody ever says anything about Bernie. That makes me laugh. That people talk about the flags. Bernie Sanders is just like so. Nobody's mad about that guy, apparently. This is the fucking thumbnail that YouTube chose. I can't change thumbnails. Like, they're about to roll out the ability to like select a still from your fucking video. But like, they choose this for me and they're just like, yep, the swastika, that's what's gonna fucking get people. And they're not wrong. I thought it was some commenters are like, fucking these Georgians think they're playing capture the flag. And then to end it on holding the shark. That felt right to me. I'm gonna have to I don't have my mouse. Fuck. Gay in the same way that Top Gun is super gay. Like, maybe you didn't catch it 20 years ago, but come on. To me, motorcycles are about the freedom to be violently yourself, even when you know it will get you labeled as a degenerate or a criminal, and that is the same war queer people have been fighting their entire lives. Bro, I don't want to hear it. I'm recording, and I've taken you out 4 or 5 times today. You know, that was definitely a companion video to the other one, because I released that, and then I released my what I called my trans manifesto. It's the transphobe to trans ally. I'm not going to go over all of this, but what I am going to do, I haven't come back to look and see like what all these different these are all like, you guys know how fucking YouTube works, right? Like these are all the high points in the video where people are like holding. And okay, so the sex scene in Elton John, cool. I thought that was a true story. Also, man, how cute was I? I was a cute kid, I feel like. Oh, yeah. So, okay, so people were coming to hear this story about John. This comedian's good. Maybe people were coming back to watch this comedian guy's clip, thought that was funny. Okay. Oh, the Trump fucking grab him by the pussy thing. Man, making that connection. I felt good about making that connection. Again, another thing I just didn't think about. John, the reason I know John was wearing a red hat was because that was his like profile picture in fucking Instagram and shit. Like he was all aboard the Trump train all the way through the presidency, as far as I could tell, or at least until 2018 or so. But again, I think I'm actually friends with him on Instagram, but I've not looked at his profile in years. I'm too lazy to go back and fucking delete people. I don't care. Yeah, okay. So people come back. This makes sense. I mean, the cop thing is always interesting to people. Most of the people watching the video have no idea. I think I've talked about this in the past, but like when I create my content now, I create it and the audience is the 95%, which is the people who are coming to my channel who have literally never seen a video before. So I try to make sure I catch people up quickly. I because I know I've talked about it a million times and everybody who's watched my content has seen it a million times. I really do try to like condense it and summarize it as much as possible so that I'm not going over it again. I want people to just go watch the videos, if they really want to learn more. Complex emotions. Oh, and then of course people are reading this. I think I have like I pulled like some of the better examples, but like literally this is a day old. Like these are like I get these types of comments pretty consistently. Probably, I mean, like once a week, twice a week, maybe shit like that. I mean, it depends on the traffic I have. This comment here where people like found the trans pride flag and then like I had to explain them what it was and they go look and they honestly go look up and they're like, oh shit, I was wrong. I was confused. Like this doesn't happen very often, but this is why I created the trans pride the trans flag video. Was because I could just post and like plug it into these people so that they could be educated. They do exist. Like there are bigots who are just ignorant. They just don't fucking know because there's nobody that they trust is ever going to show them this information. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm proud of it. Like when I created this video, I had several inspirations for creating this video. One was Phil from That Dang Dad. He just asked me one day, he's like, how the hell did you like get what's your deal? Like, how'd you get into like this? How'd you get so connected with the trans community? And I was like, oh, and then kind of like wrote him up a version of what I did here, extremely summarized, mainly just like the end part about meeting Brenda. I often get comments, why do you have those flags up? And it's not a simple answer. The answer is this 20-minute video. That's the answer. I summarize it into, supporting the queer community or bringing people in, but the real answer is this video. But truly, the other reason I was sparked into action was this Leftist Cooks video. I mean, it really, it's called Not a Video Essay. I'll link it. I linked it in this video here. One of the people that runs that channel, there's Sarah and Neil had this very passionate speech. There's a whole part of it about death. Like where this speech in this clip comes in, they are talking about death of someone who is very important to Sarah. The type of important where it's like you just can't imagine your life without them, where you're just living your life and enjoying things and you're happy, and then like fucking tragedy strikes and holy shit, your whole life is turned up and down. And she was relating to Neil's impassioned speech about how he wants his life to create something of material value that helps people. And that is a feeling I have inside of me that is it's like a driving force. It's like, what the fuck am I here to do? What the fuck am I on this earth to do? I want to like ride my motorcycle and be happy. And I want to help other people do the same. it's kind of my driving force. I feel like this speech by Neil was just really really impactful to me, and I'm sure it was to a lot of people, but it was stuck in the middle of a 2-hour video essay that, as many people watched that video, not enough people, in my opinion, were going to see what Neil said there that really hit me. So I wanted to throw it in, and I asked Neil, and he said it was fine. And so yeah, that's what I did. And I would like to watch it one more time because I'm gonna be honest, I love it. I'm so happy with what I did. I just think I did such a good job. True. I'm gonna die someday, no matter what I do. And I've watched people die in hospital beds. I don't know if that's for me. I think I'd rather die on my bike or in the streets. But before I do, I'd like to change the world.
Because unless we make our art, and that's our art as lives, our lives as art, into something collective and of utility and aggressively designed to change the world and make it better, then we run the risk, I'm afraid, of just making crap video essays. And you can tell me that that's all we're doing. You can say it in the comments below. I don't give a flying fuck. But I hope you can at least see from this that we don't want to just make video essays. The idea is to prevent suicides, to prevent genocides. I actually want to save the world. Do you want to save the world? Can we admit that to each other? Do you want to save the world?
I want to save the world. Do you want to save the world? So I watched The Leftist Cooks. I was introduced to their content, I think like a year or two ago, classic YouTube algorithm. I think there was a video Neil made on his own about polyamory or something. And I found that it's just so vulnerable and he did such a good job explaining the dynamics of his existence. And it made it more real to me, where it was like, oh, poly isn't this thing where it's just a sex cult, which is kind of how I thought of it before. Not really, but hedonistic, realistically. And Neil explained how it was more about emotional needs and sexual needs and connection and making family and community. It was just way more complicated, and I loved it, and I've been watching them ever since. And Neil, and now Sarah is part of this channel too, is they just think so deep. They have so much empathy. I really think of them as the people that are setting the moral standard for YouTube, and I align with them very closely as far as how they feel about those types of things. So when I watched their 2-hour video essay that this clip is from, called "This Is Not a Video Essay," which is very meta. And again, if you're just into YouTube and content creation, if you're a Mia Cole enjoyer, you will like this video. It's edited very differently. When Neil looked me in the eyes, he was looking at me. You'll never convince me that Neil was not looking me directly in the eyes when he asked me this question of, do I want to save the world? And it was so impactful for me. I had already had the thought to write this video, to make this video, but I wrote it, and I was like, this story feels like maybe something that other people would connect to or feel good about, or would maybe help other straight dudes or just people who are just afraid of trans people. This might help humanize them a little bit. So I had that already in me. But when Neil looked me in the eyes and said, do I want to change the world? I don't know. It hit me, man. I don't know what to say other than that. And I wanted Neil to look other people in the eyes, just like he did to me, and say what he said. And then I wanted to do the same. I wanted to look the audience in the eyes and ask them the same question that sparked me into action. It felt really good to get this out. What has been, I'm going to be honest, there's two types of horrible in the YouTube world. There's the horrible of not being popular and not putting insane amounts of effort and work into something and it just falling flat. That's a really devastating feeling. That sucks. And that's what most people on YouTube feel all the fucking time. It's a totally different horror to have something pop off insanely and to then feel overwhelmed at the response, which even an extremely positive response just to show you this was Like this was when I posted that video, and I was already having I was already getting some of the highest traffic my channel has ever got because of, you know, the number of videos I had produced, and like some of them had just kind of popped off. And it sent it into overdrive, and that video specifically has driven more comments, especially positive, like super long, thoughtful, positive comments. It's doubled the size of my Discord server with people coming to it to like, you know, engage with me, and it's awesome. Like that's so fucking cool to me. It's just complicated. A good video, like if you look at my videos, like a good short, like 18,000 likes on 280,000 views. So that's like 5% like ratio, roughly. A little more than that. Like that's actually good for a short. That's kind of what I think. For a normal video, I think at like 10% to be a good like ratio. So this one having 14,000 likes on 90,000 views, like that's almost, I mean, that's 15 or so percent. That's a huge margin. A lot of people really connected with this video, and like that is so fucking cool. I've basically made a point to come in here. I'm gonna read every comment that's here, and like, cause there's just so many thoughtful things. If you want to cry, come read the incredibly like emotional things people have put into these text boxes, because that's kind of what I did, to be honest. I after I released this video, my channel went insane, my Discord went insane, my DMs popped off. I mean, even now, like I'm having a lot of communications with people. I haven't put any work into video. I basically I'm doing no video work. I'm going to try to get back to it now today, you know, it's the 28th as I'm recording this. I'm trying to record some more stuff. I've actually recorded 3 videos prior to releasing that video. So I'll at least be able to work on that, but I want to record a few more while my hair is still, you know, normal pink. I kind of like the evolution. You know, I wanted to have different looks when I did the pink, but yeah, I mean, it's incredibly validating. It makes me feel good. I mean, I didn't do it to get any of that, of course. I mean, like I hoped that some people would connect with it. Like I hoped it would be impactful for people, no doubt. It's one thing to hope, and it's another thing to have it happen. And having it happen was emotional, and then having people's response to that happening was very emotional. And now, like, talking to the people that I'm talking to and meeting and learning more about their stories and like what brought them to come to my Discord is, or reach out to me however they choose to. It's all, you know, it's just a lot of emotion going through. So I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out a balance for it. I'm going to have to figure out how to get back to normal. I just want to say to anybody who watched this video, I just want to say to anyone who watched the video and felt seen, that I am super glad. And that was my intent. As much as I said the primary audience was the chuds who are struggling to not be shitty to trans people or queer people, the audience that I hoped would connect with it was trans people. I hoped it would be relieving. I hoped it would make you, if you're trans, feel good. So even though you're my secondary audience, I thought about trans people the whole fucking time I was making it. And, you know, I hope to demonstrate that you can be an ally without being perfect at everything and without doing every single thing that, you know, has come up as far as like calling things out. Like I hate LGBTQIA+. I fucking hate that because I have fucking ADD. I want things to be fast and quick. It just takes too long to fucking say. And I have talked to a lot of people who are like, we keep bolting shit on. I memorize something and now you make me memorize something new. Queer. I'm calling it queer. I'm going to call queer till I fucking die. For those people, I wanted to demonstrate a different version of, you know, being supportive of queer identities, of queer culture, without having to be the red-haired, you know, the SJW that these people fear and don't want to be. But I also wanted to share, like, you know, the truth is a lot of trans people like don't have support. They don't have supportive people around them. They're not necessarily talking to therapists. They're not necessarily talking to doctors, you know, because they're just not in spaces where they can do that. They don't have the money. They don't have the access. They don't have the people around them that will help them do those things, or even worse, you know, prevent them from doing those things. So I wanted to kind of share that story because I thought it would also help them maybe realize like, oh shit, this thing I'm going through where like I'm 16 or 17 and like my parents don't, I'm like scared to tell my parents, and like I don't want to, like I want to do these things, but like what if it's too late? Like I wanted to show people that like that's common. There were so many things that I kind of learned about myself as I went down to actually like write this down. And what this video convinced me is that the next full video I want to make is about the chop. And I want to tell my story of that too, because that is another thing that I am very frustrated that the mainstream just does. The way they cover protests and riots, if you want to call it that, when there's violence involved or like shit that gets broken, it's just so gross to me. It's so frustrating. I really appreciate everyone that watched. I appreciate everyone who joined to comment. I'm excited to talk to more of you in Discord. And thank you so much. Again, everyone who supports me on Patreon or even just supports me by leaving a comment or hitting the goddamn thumbs up. I appreciate it. So have a good month. I will see you in my birthday month of June. Don't ask me how old I am.